Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Cheap Brew. I'm Anthony. Today, I'm not going to waste any time beating around the bushel. You read it in the title right there. We're going to be making 1 gallon of hard apple cider. All you're going to need for this is 1 gallon of apple juice. Don't get any apple juice that has sulfides or preservatives in it. Just get some pasteurized apple juice, ideally from the produce department in the summertime, or you could get some apple juice off the shelf as long as it doesn't have sulfides and preservatives in it. Second, you're going to need some yeast. I'm choosing to use Cote de Blanc. That's a wine yeast that is made by the company called Red Star. I'm going to use half the packet. I'm going to use the other half of the packet on another project this evening, but that's a different video. Additionally, I'm going to be using in secondary fermentation 1 cinnamon stick and 1 vanilla bean that I will split down the middle. That ought to give us a nice, hopefully apple pie-ish kind of flavor. But we'll see what happens because I've never tried those steps before. To get started, we're going to take our 1 gallon of apple juice and pour it into our fermenter. We're going to leave just an inch or two of room up there at the top so that fermentation can take place without exploding out of the airlock in the jug. And that's really all there is to it. After that, I'm going to take a quick gravity reading to see how much potential alcohol we have. Then I'm going to throw in the yeast and the yeast nutrient, and it's going to sit and ferment for 1 to 2 weeks. That's really all there is to it. So we have a starting gravity of 1.050, which is a potential alcohol of just about 6%. And if I had to guess, we're gonna get all 6% of it. The only thing left to do is throw this and these jugs into the fermenter and pitch the yeast. As you can see, it's a really simple process, but before we put the apple cider must away in the corner to ferment for the next 1 to 2 weeks, we're gonna wanna give it a good couple minutes of shaking. This lid leaks a little, just so you know. So I'm not gonna do that much longer. I've got shiny hands now. And that's really all there is to it. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put on this lid and airlock, and now we are ready to ferment our hard apple cider must for the next 7 to 14 days and hope to God that it ferments out to something amazingly delicious. I'm gonna put this away real quick, and then I've actually saved myself a small sample of the apple cider so I know kind of what our baseline is, and I'm going to share that information with you in just a moment. Get my fancy cheap brew cup. I don't know about you, but I really like apple juice, so I'm really excited to see what this tastes like. That's good apple juice. I'm trying to figure out what apples are in there. I know it says here on the jug, so I'm just going to read it there. It says Golden Delicious, Granny Smith, Fuji, Gala, I could taste the Gala, Empire, and Rome apples. I'm going to have a little bit more of this juice. I'm going to get started on my second project for the evening, and you are about to witness the most amazing fermentation montage you've ever seen. We've been fermenting our hard apple cider for about 30 days now, so we're ready to move from primary fermentation into secondary fermentation, where we're gonna add a cinnamon stick and a vanilla bean to impart kind of an apple pie sort of flavor into our hard apple cider. To begin the evening, I've taken a gravity reading, and I have a final gravity for us of 0.998. And if you do the math with a starting gravity of 1.050, that's going to give you about 6.7%. alcohol by volume, which is not too shabby. Before we get too far off into the weeds with the evening, I'm gonna do a small little sample here. If you're gonna stop and not add the vanilla bean or the cinnamon stick, this is kind of what you can expect. So, as far as the smell goes, I've had a few smells of this actually. I do kind of like the way it smells. You can expect it to smell like a typical Angry Orchard kind of hard cider. And where it differs, because I've shot this scene twice and I already know, is the taste. The taste of this is just a little bit dry, but because it's not horrible, I'm gonna have another sip. There's nothing to hate about this, except for the fact that I like my drinks on the sweeter side. I would add some sugar to this. Maybe not sugar per se, but some non-fermentable sweetener. But if you like dry ciders, this is actually really, really reasonable. Not carbonated, so it just tastes like apple wine. That's pretty much all I gotta say about that. That's pretty reasonable. All right, let's rack this and start secondary. Now that the cinnamon stick and the vanilla bean are sitting in the jar with the hard apple cider, we're gonna give them a little bit of alone time to blend their flavors together and ultimately make the beautiful baby that's going to be our apple pie hard apple cider. I'm gonna let it do that in the privacy of the garage where the temperatures are a little colder, so anything that is suspended inside the liquid might have a better chance at falling out, giving us a clearer version of our apple pie hard apple cider. It's been 15 days since we started aging our hard cider with the cinnamon stick and the vanilla bean, and I am happy to announce we have achieved apple pie flavor status. The only thing that could make it better is if it was just a little bit less dry. So we're going to back sweeten and prime this so that when it goes into the bottle, it'll be nice and sweet and end up with a little bit of carbonation, hopefully. Now, let's get down to business. Tonight, I'm expecting to get about 8 bottles of hard cider from that 1 gallon batch over there. So I've sanitized enough bottles and bottle caps to cover that. Before I fill them up though, I'm going to rack the hard cider out of its current jar into a nice clean one that we can bottle from. And then what I'm gonna be doing is taking a series of taste samples while I back sweeten with erythritol. Say that 5 times fast. Anyways, I'm gonna start with about 2 tablespoons of erythritol and then go up from there in case that's not sweet enough. After back sweetening with a non-fermentable sugar, what I'm gonna do is add in about 2 ounces of apple juice concentrate. That's gonna be our priming sugar. And if you're lucky, the yeast will leave a little bit of it so we have a nice apple flavor as well. It already smells like apple pie, but you can't go wrong with a little bit more apple in there. I'm not adding any more of that. Maybe it's the vanilla or the cinnamon that's throwing me off here, but that's not very apple pie-ish. Like it smells like apple pie, but it doesn't taste like it. So no more of that. It's definitely a little bit sweeter. Let's add the apple juice concentrate and see how that affects the flavor. Take 2. Well, it's definitely not enough to taste. Perhaps this would be better with a little bit more of an apple flavor, but I don't want to risk having a bottle bomb. So I am not going to put any more of that in there just in case. Well, if you made it this far in the video, I nearly liked the dry cider better. I think it might have been caused by the cinnamon stick and the vanilla. Particularly, I'm thinking it's the vanilla. It's smooth, I will give it that. It is quite smooth. I'm gonna put this into the bottle and see how the carbonation goes. So into the bottle it goes. just like that, we've got 8 bottles of hard apple cider, weighing in at a 6.8% ABV and ready to go and bottle condition for a few weeks. And to be honest, I might leave it even a little bit longer. While I'm waiting for the hard apple cider to finish, I do have several other projects that I can work on. For the time being, it's gonna go chill in the box for a little while, hopefully get a little bit of carbonation, and then we'll check back in 2 to 4 weeks to see how we're doing as far as clarity and carbonation goes. Well, it's been about 2.5 weeks since we started bottle conditioning our hard apple cider, and we are finally ready to do a taste test and see how it all came together. Before we get into the taste test, a quick plug for these glasses that I have. I love these things, the Caution Cheap Brew glass along with my regular old custom printed Cheap Brew glass. The plug here being that you can actually go and buy these now. I've opened a little storefront, www.cheapbrew.store, where you can go pick this up, as well as some homebrew themed shirts and whatnot, just a little storefront to kind of help support the channel a little bit. But anyways, to get back into this apple cider, let's start with a little smell, shall we? It smells a little bit less like the apple pie that it was smelling like when we would put this into the bottle. Not unpleasant though, I will say. It smells kind of like a tart apple, kind of like Granny Smith a little bit. So yeah, that's my thought on the smell anyways. Let's get into the taste of this thing, the moment we've all been waiting for. Yep, it's a little bit on the bitter side, like I said, like the Granny Smith apple. It's not unsweet though, so those sugars, the non-fermentable sugars we put in there actually did go a little ways. And I do think that the, what was the other ingredient we used? We used the apple juice concentrate to prime this thing, and it did a good job. I don't know if you saw it during the pour, but it was pretty fizzy when it first hit the bottom of the glass, and you can still tell that it's pretty fizzy. I think we need another sip to really dive into the deets here. It's kind of weird because it's a pleasantly dry / sweet. Okay, I guess there's a word for that. It's called semi-sweet. It's a semi-sweet cider, and it doesn't taste bad either. It's got that hint of cinnamon. I think that over the bottle aging, we've either lost the vanilla or I've become immune to it, but it does taste pretty good. I would recommend this if I was more of a cider guy, but I really don't have a baseline because I never really got into ciders. Anyways, overall, I would give this a 7.5 out of 10 at my current level. Not too bad overall. I think the next time I would maybe try it with no vanilla bean. Not that the vanilla bean has ruined it. I thought for a moment maybe during that last racking that it had. It hasn't. It's very palatable, even to me as more of a beer and wine kind of guy. Thanks for taking the time to watch. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. And as I was mentioning earlier, go check out the storefront, www.cheapbrew.store. And remember, drink more homebrew. I'll catch you on the next one.